afternoon, college football fans! What's going on, y'all? Man, it's been too long. It's been a whole year. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that whole it's been a year deal, even though I just did. But I'm just saying, y'all, it has been a new year. And my goodness, what a new year it has been. So many great bowl games, and for this show, so little time. Oh my goodness, let's have some fun and talk some college football here today as we recap all the goodies from the New Year's games, both Eve and on New Year's Day. A crazy Rose Bowl it was, a really fun Sugar Bowl, and two college playoff games, or college football playoff games that were just very uneventful and, well, kind of, we told you so, I guess. I mean, wasn't really a surprise. Anyway, with that said, y'all, you are tuned in live with my boy here, my co-host, Teran Rodriguez, and myself, getting ready to deliver you 30 minutes, that's right, 30 minutes of non-stop, wall-to-wall college football action right here on 3 and Out. IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome, college football fans. Well, here we are, doing our thing and enjoying every moment of it. Ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves some goodies going on in what is an incredibly awesome college football season finale. Wow, last year sucked. Last year was just a crappy year. All these bowl games between teams who only played like 5 games and all this craziness going on. Well, we had a full season. We had almost a full bowl season, besides a few games where COVID caught them. But regardless, we have some good ones. And we had some good ones, and we got 2 to go. One going on tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Of course, a Texas Bowl between LSU and Kansas State. And, well, the rest is history because we have ourselves a national championship to get ready for coming up. And don't forget, we actually have 3 games to get ready for. The FCS National Championship getting underway on Saturday be at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 p.m. Eastern. So with that said, we only got 30 minutes here today. We're going to scramble before G takes the mic on Reppin' to NorCal Sports on her return. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming my boy, man. He is one of the COOs of IE Sports Radio. He is IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer Class 2020. He is founder and host of he has like a million shows. He's co-host of this show, 3 and Out College Edition. He is, of course, founder and host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, talking all things SoCal sports every Friday. And, of course, he is founder and host of Set Point, talking all things volleyball. Got underway last night, and this man knows volleyball better than I think anybody does. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my boy, Mr. Teran Rodriguez. What's going on, brother?
Yo, Larry D, it is great to be back on the air with you. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year to you, too. Let's make it a great show in the span of 36 minutes. Or 26 minutes.
Let's do this, Teran. Let's do this, my boy. Well, check it out, man. We have ourselves something fun coming up. As well, it is just football, man. Football. So, in the chat room, gotta welcome our newcomer, man. Our boy, Mr. Glad to have him, by the way, man. Mr. Marcus. He's up in the chat room here, so big ups to him. He'll be hosting our brand new Georgia Sports show. Of course, that is coming up, making his premiere on Sunday. So big ups to him, hosting Peach Sports Talk here at IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So with that said, y'all, this is the goods, man. He says, go dogs in the chat room. Well, Teran, that's exactly what it was on New Year's Eve. So let's go ahead and recap. Let's do this, Teran. Let's go ahead and recap all the good ones. Well, of course, they were all good. But the last time we were on air was on the 30th So we will start with the Mayo Bowl. We have 13 games to recap in so little time, Teran. So let's roll back on my ESPN Score Center app and get ready for the Mayo Bowl. Teran, this was a great game between two rivals, South Carolina and UNC, of course. We had an ACC and an SEC. Really, really fun stuff. Really great game. And man, this was a good one. Well, Teran, this thing started off very, very simple. The Gamecocks destroyed the Tar Heels very early, 18-0 at the end of the first quarter. At halftime, however, UNC gained some footing, but they wouldn't gain enough, as South Carolina would lead 25 to 13 at the half. At the end of the third quarter, an exchange of touchdowns in the third, we'd have 32-21 at the end of the third. And in the fourth, it was all South Carolina, even if it was just 2 field goals, as they would end this thing 38-21. The Gamecocks will win the 2021, at the time, Duke's Mayo Bowl. Teran, how about that one, man?
First SEC team to have won a bowl game at that point in time. So good job to South Carolina. They look very promising, as Spencer Rattler's going to be there next year. And South Carolina has a future. I probably should have picked them, but I keep forgetting that North Carolina is a basketball school and not a football school.
You're cold-blooded. Well, Harris, 31 carries, 181 yards. What a baller, man. 1 touchdown on the ground, and then through the air, 5 receptions, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns for Bell. And Joyner, 9 for 9, 160 yards. He had a perfect game throwing the ball. Completion rating, that is, 160 yards, 1 touchdown. This man looked good. They looked very good. Finishing off the season at 7-6. The Tar Heels will finish at 6-7. Moving forward, man, up to the Trans Perfect, wow, Music City Bowl. Teran, this was probably one of the funnest games of the entire bowl season, man. It starts off with both teams exchanging touchdowns, and then Tennessee is taking over. Rocky Top was reigning supreme at the end of the first quarter, 21-7. Then it was all Purdue. We have 3 field goals and a touchdown, 23-21 Purdue. Talk about a story of 2 quarters, even though Purdue got their lick in the first quarter. Tennessee got nothing in the second quarter, and they didn't like it. In the third quarter, the Vols came right out and showed that they didn't like it very much. They would exchange some touchdowns with Purdue, and then look at this, looky here. Tennessee will get a field goal towards the end of the third quarter, 31-30. Going into the fourth, Teran, Tennessee, Purdue, it was a good one. Once again, Vols lead 31-30 going into the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, though, if they waited to the very end for all the drama, all these touchdowns occur within the final 5 minutes, then, well, we would end off with 2 late, actually like 4 late touchdowns, okay? Once again, they all occurred in the last 5 minutes. And we ended up 45-40-5. We went to overtime. A field goal would win it. Mitchell Finneran, 39-yard field goal, would win it. And Purdue, the Boilermakers, oh my goodness, 48-45. Purdue wins the Trans Perfect Music City Bowl in overtime, 48-45.
That was probably the most thrilling game of all the bowl games. I mean, other than a certain other bowl, but that one probably took the cake as the best not New Year's Bowl on the bowl slate.
Agreed. Yeah, this quarterback, man, O'Connell, decent day, 26 for 47, not the best completion rating, but 534 yards, 5 touchdowns. He threw 3 picks, but whatever, he did his thing. And one of his receivers, man, Thompson, 7 receptions, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns. What a game, 9-4 for the Boilermakers on the season. Tennessee will finish 7-6. Next up here, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Teran, this was a fun one. Oh my gosh, what a game. I think because let's just go ahead and recap it. So, end of the first quarter, 10-7, Michigan State. In the second quarter, my goodness, very, very defensive. I loved it. Only touchdown took place at the end of the second quarter, 14-10 now. Pitt led at the half. Pitt would continue that 1 touchdown type of deal in the quarter, and 21-10 at the end of the third quarter. Only touchdown early on in the third, and that's how it would end. But good old Michigan State would come out and make it happen in that fourth quarter. 3 touchdowns, completely unanswered, and well, that's how it would end. 31-21 on the day. Michigan State, man, talk about some good numbers here. Thorne, 29 for 50, 354 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not the best completion rating once again, but who cares? They got the job done. And Naylor, 6 receptions for 108 yards. Michigan, number 10 Michigan, will finish off this season at 11-2.
So, yeah, that was a great game between Michigan State and Pitt. It was a basically up-and-down affair with both teams. Pitt obviously did not have Kenny Pickett, but they were resilient without him. But obviously Michigan State, being the talented team that they were able to snag the lead and just find their footing in the fourth quarter. So that was huge for Michigan State.
Yeah, it was. Sparty won the day. So, with that said, next up here, final game of the day on New Year's Eve, if you want to call it that. Wisconsin, 20-13 over Arizona State, finishing this one 9-4 on the season. This game was very defensive. I loved it. First quarter, 14-3, Wisconsin. Second quarter, halftime, 20-6, Wisconsin. End of the third quarter, 20-13, Wisconsin, even though Arizona did score their lone touchdown of the game. In the third quarter, a scoreless fourth quarter, and well, that was just a great game. No eye-popping numbers, none of that, but just a great football game. Wisconsin finishes at 9-4, Arizona State finishes at 8-5.
So obviously Arizona State didn't have most of its players because they all pretty much were declared for the NFL draft. I kind of figured that Wisconsin would win, but I got to give credit to Arizona State. They were resilient, but Dayton Daniels didn't have his best game. It was, as you said, a defensive battle. So Wisconsin obviously made the fewer mistakes in that game. So impressive stuff from Wisconsin.
Absolutely, man. On to the next day on New Year's Eve, number 17, Wake Forest. Just obliterated Rutgers. I give Rutgers props for stepping up. They're supposed to play Texas A&M. Well, they got it done, man. I think they were supposed to play Texas A&M. But 38-10, big-time victory. And just what a freaking game, man. Wake Forest did what they did, and yeah, I mean, at the half it was 20-10. Rutgers showed some promise, but it was all Wake Forest in the second half, and that is your final score. The Demon Deacons will end the season at 11-3.
Impressive win for Wake Forest, but as you said, Rutgers basically was outmatched, unfortunately. But again, the fact they stepped up and stepped in to play this bowl game was impressive stuff.
It really was. In the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, however, Teran, this was a good one, man. Very good football game. Chippewas and Wazoo. Well, this one would be a fun one, as we have ourselves, the end of the first quarter, all Chippewas 13-0. At the end of halftime, at halftime, 21-0. It was all Chippewas in the first half. Well, in the third quarter, we would see a nice fight back here from Wazoo, man. Those Cougs would fight back, scoring 14 unanswered, and it'd be 21-14 at the end of the first quarter. Sorry, at the end of the third quarter. I'm just all over the place, sorry. And then in the fourth quarter, we would have one field goal from Central Michigan. However, a touchdown would be the dagger with 3:13 to go in the game from I won't keep on saying Sparty. I'm sorry. I'm Sparty happy right now. From Wazoo. And, well, Washington State would come so close. They would try to lay the dagger. My apologies. I thought that was to go ahead. But they would do their darndest to get this thing ahead. However, no dice. And the Chippewas would hang on to win this thing. 24-21. Chippewas finished 9-4 on the season. And gets a great job. Both Nichols on, hits the century mark on the day. 30 for 138 yards. 1 touchdown. How about that game, Teran?
So that was probably the most impressive game. I had a very good feeling that Central Michigan would win. The key in that quarter, or the key in that game, was Khalil Pimpleton's punt return as Wazoo punted it. And the number one rule when punting it to Central Michigan, do not punt it to Khalil Pimpleton. He took it 45 yards to the Washington State 9. Eventually it was a touchdown. And it was 21-0 at the half. And I give credit for Washington State. They limited Pimpleton to the best of their ability, but it was pretty much too little too late. So good job to Central Michigan. Pimpleton does have a great future if he decides to declare for the draft. So I look forward to seeing him, either as a punt returner or wide receiver.
Agreed. Well, he looks like a solid player, man. And looking excited for him. But we have two college football playoff games to get to, and Teran, we shouldn't even spend 3 minutes combined. Let's just be real. Number 1 Alabama did exactly what we thought number 1 Alabama would do to number 4 Cincinnati, 27-6. Really, I mean, is there really anything else to say, Teran? I mean, Young he threw one pick, but man, 17 for 28, 181 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Bryce Young out of Mater Dei, your neck of the woods, Teran, Orange County, of course, the national championships again, the national champions this year, Mater Dei, the national champions of high school football. And this game wasn't even close, Teran. It was just all Alabama. Yes, they did. Cincinnati did get their licks, just 2 field goals. Didn't get in the end zone all day. It was just very one-sided. Alabama will win the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, the college football playoff semifinal, 27-6. And, well, they are on their way to the national championship. Teran, is there really anything else to say about this?
3 words for Cincinnati. They did their best. Actually, that was 4 words. But regardless, yeah, to me, I thought this was as expected as possible. Cincinnati did all that they could, but unfortunately for them, they were facing Alabama. Any other opponent they might have actually won, maybe other than Georgia, but again, Alabama is Alabama.
Yeah, it was just one-sided, and well, that's how it went, Teran. And then on to the other game. I mean, I understand why people thought this would be closer. I thought it'd be probably a Georgia victory. For our boy Marcus here in the chat room, Peak Sports Talk. I'm sure he's happy about this one. Very happy. But Georgia, man, gets rolled on Michigan. I didn't think they were going to roll on them. I thought they would beat them. I didn't think they'd smack them. But they did. And, well, 34-11. Michigan only scored 1 touchdown in basically garbage time. But their only scorer of the actual game, I guess you can say. I mean, I know it's kind of mean to say, like, garbage time or whatever. But it's the truth, man. Their only points scored that when I think everybody was still on full freaking go was a field goal in the second quarter. Other than that, Teran, it was all. I mean, they did hold the Bulldogs to a scoreless third quarter, but it was just, I hate to say it, but the effort was in vain, man. Peak Stock Sports here, Marcus says, beyond ecstatic. They got down, man. Talk about a great game. McCarthy, 7 for 17, 131 yards, 1 touchdown. And that was on Michigan's side. Bennett, of course, 20 for 30, 313 yards, 3 touchdowns, and just a great day. Cook, 4 receptions for 121 yards, 1 touchdown. Overall, man, Georgia is headed to the national championship to take on their familiar foe from the SEC, a game we've already seen in the SEC championship, Alabama. Teran, anything for this one?
I was very foolish to pick Michigan. I forgot how good Georgia's defense was, and it really stifled them. And Georgia deserves a lot of credit. Kirby Smart has that program doing great things, and honestly, I think Georgia is making this championship a little interesting, maybe a little too interesting, but honestly, they deserve credit. They came up big when it mattered most, and they really quieted a hot Michigan team.
It really did, and it says here, well, we're taking a look. Marcus says here, the one thing I seen that was the downfall was the time management around halftime. All right, well, let's hope they can figure that out. I really like Kirby Smart. He's a great coach, but once again, it's Nick Saban, and that is a product of course, Kirby Smart is a product of Nick Saban. Let's see, man. Will they make those adjustments this time? Can they take down the giant? This is the monkey on their back, or let's just say the elephant on their back, because winning this game would be amazing. But, well, for them. But Alabama is no freaking slouch. They're no pushover, and they've dominated the last decade because of how strong and how powerful they are, how much of a mastermind Nick Saban is. Nick Saban would be like, shut up, like, I'm just a football coach, I get it. But this man gets like Bill Belichick. They're legends, and whether they want to admit it or not, these guys are amazing, and they know what they're doing, and until they finally hang up the whistle from those programs, they're going to probably always be dominant, just saying. So, with that, well, program, and one's a program, one's a franchise with the Patriots. But with that said, we're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we're going to recap the rest from the New Year's games, of course, in 2022. And, well, then we're going to get on out of here. With that said, you are tuned in live to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this.
From the shores of the Puget Sound to the rushing waters of the Columbia River, stretching across the Great Cascades, and on IE Sports Radio lives the Northwest Territory Sports Show, hosted by me, Brad Buckingham. On this show, I cover all the great collegiate and professional sport teams that we have here in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, I'm talking about the Seattle Seahawks, Seattle Mariners, Sounders, and even the Seattle Kraken. But I can't forget all of that is good in Oregon either. I got the Trailblazers, the Oregon Ducks, the Beavers, even the Timbers, and much, much more. You can listen to the show every Sunday from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern, noon to 1 p.m. Pacific on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Big ups to our boy, Mr. Brad Buckingham. Great dude, man. Make sure to check out the Northwest Territory Sports show. Great stuff, man, and he is the man. Great stuff every single week. Took ourselves a brief break, but now we're coming back in, Teran, to talk about those games from New Year's Day. Man, there were some good ones, Teran. We only have 8 minutes to get through these, man. Hyper speed, but let's have some fun. New Year's Eve was a goodie. My goodness, was it a fun one. But Arkansas and Penn State, Outback Bowl. Very simple. Arkansas dominated this game. Penn State looked like they would be okay, I guess, for a little bit, but no, they did not. Arkansas, 24-10. Number 21 Arkansas gets this thing done. And amazing job here. Jefferson, 20 carries, 110 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. Realistically, man, at the half, it was 10-7 Penn State. But in that third quarter, it was all Arkansas in a scoreless fourth quarter. Regardless, the Razorbacks get it done.
Arkansas has really improved from its past. I was wrong about this one as well. I thought Penn State was going to pull it out with Sean Clifford, but Clifford kind of struggled. So I think Arkansas has something going here when it comes to the future.
Let's see, man. A great team and definitely turned around from what they were a couple years ago. So this was probably the best game ever. Man, there were so many good ones. But let's just be real, man. I'm not even going to go over. Well, I'm going to go over the quarters, but the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, end of the first quarter, Notre Dame leads 14-7. At the half, Notre Dame leads 28-14. In the third quarter, though, talk about rallying the troops, man, circling the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Man, end of the third quarter, 31-28. My goodness. The Pokes score 3 scores here, 17 points unanswered, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. In the fourth quarter, the scoring continues. Notre Dame would make a late touchdown to try to make it happen. However, they couldn't get it. 37-35. History was made. Notre Dame has never been down this many points. I think they were down 21 points at one time. Oh, sorry. They'd never given up. They were up 21 points at one time. They led 28-7 at the end of the second quarter, close to the end, but then the Pokes would score. But 28-7, they would lose this game 37-35. How about that? The Oklahoma State Cowboys defeat Notre Dame, going 12-2 on the season.
Impressive stuff from Oklahoma State, because obviously when you're down 21 points, you could pretty much just either throw in the towel or just find ways to claw and fight back. Notre Dame, I did not know the stat. They are winless in New Year's Day Bowls, as they are a whopping, I think they're 0-10 in New Year's Day Bowls, or 0-11. Either way, that's pretty sad if you're Notre Dame. Come on. Having a 28 or 21-point lead just to, squander it, my goodness.
Yeah, Notre Dame is, that was just, Anyway, the VRBO Citrus Bowl, number 22 Kentucky, number 15 Iowa. What a football game, man. End of the first quarter, 7-0 Kentucky. End of the second, 13-3 Kentucky. End of the third, 13-10 Kentucky. In that fourth quarter, an exchange of touchdowns, one early, one late. 20-17 Kentucky. Number 22 Kentucky will defeat number 15 Iowa. 20-17, winning this game, finishing the season at 10-3. Man, what a day! A century mark for everybody. Robinson, 10 receptions for 170 yards. Rodriguez, 20 carries for 107 yards. And Lewis, 17 for 28, 233 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But regardless, how about them Wildcats?
I had a feeling this was going to go in the favor of Kentucky. Iowa was not really the same team after it lost to Purdue when they were the number 2 team in the nation. I think Kentucky also has a bright future, but that's looking too far down the road, and I think Kentucky just really got the job done, and I couldn't be more happy for them. Yeah.
I'm with you, Darren. The Rose Bowl. Oh, my gosh, what a football game. Man, what a game. End of the first quarter, Utah came out and dominated. This was a story of 2 halves, basically. Well, not really 2 halves. This is just a freaking game, all right? 14-0 Utes lead this thing at the end of the first. At the end of the half, what a freaking game. Utah and Ohio State would go head-to-head, an explosion of offense, 35-21 at the half. I don't even like offense, Teran, and I love this game. And in the third quarter, we'd go back at it, man. 1 touchdown from Ohio State, 2 field goals, of course, 1 exchange from the other Utes and Buckeyes. 38-31 Utah at the end of the third quarter. Teran, Utah led every single quarter except for the most important one, the fourth, where Ohio State would answer back 2 touchdowns. Utah would answer with 1, and then right at the end, man, it was all tied 45-45. Noah Ruggles, 19-yard field goal with 9 seconds to go at the Ohio State Buckeyes. Oh my goodness, they will win the 2022 Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One Venture X, 48-45, defeating Utah, finishing the season at 11-2. Utah finishes at 10-4. Teran, what a game!
Absolutely. Remember this wide receiver's name, Jackson Smith Enigba.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's how it's pronounced. This kid was a beast. 347 receiving yards, 15 receptions, 3 touchdowns. I believe he broke the receiving yards record originally held by Keyshawn Johnson in the Rose Bowl game. So C.J. Stroud was also good in his return to California. So all in all, for Ohio State, they really impressed. Utah, on the other hand, I was very confused on why they weren't calling timeouts when it truly mattered. I think they didn't even call 1 timeout in the second half. And I just wonder what the heck was that clock management. So what are you doing, Utah? But big win for Ohio State. They did not have Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave. So good stuff.
Good stuff indeed. And here we go, Teran. Final game. We only got 2 minutes left here in the show. Number 7, Baylor just got it done, man. Ole Miss, Baylor, what a game in the Sugar Bowl. Scoreless first quarter at the half, 7-0 Baylor. 7-7 at the end of the third. And man, what a game this was, as we would have a solid ending as Baylor, 2 touchdowns at the end of the in the fourth quarter, sealing this deal, man. 21-7, Baylor won this thing 21-7, and just what a great game for them to win the All-State Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, it was a great win for Baylor. Unfortunately for Ole Miss, they did not have the services of Matt Corral as he hurt his leg, and I believe either the first or second quarter, but it was probably, it's tough to really tell. Baylor is a great team. They won the Big 12, and I think they deserve to win. But Ole Miss deserves credit for holding their own through 3 quarters. Unfortunately, the fourth quarter basically was the nail in the coffin. So, great game overall.
Yes, it was. Teran, you know what time it is, man. It's time to cue the music, because we're out of here! All right, Teran. Well, brother, that was a fun one. 30 minutes of pure college football, man. We took a short break in there, but it was a good one. With that said, y'all, that will do it for us here today. Make sure you tune in on Saturday. We're coming back at ya Saturday, January 8th 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Eastern, to talk about
Texas Bowl?
That's right. I forgot about Texas Bowl. Well, that's a tough one. Just kidding. My bad, Tara. As you can see, we're rushing to get the crap out of here. Texas Bowl, very simple. I'm going LSU tonight for the victory.
I'm going with LSU too, Larry. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Let's do this, man. Even though Kansas State is favored at 7.5 point. Kansas State is favored by 7.5 points. We're both taking LSU here. Make sure to tune in for that game. The Texas Bowl coming up tonight. Thanks again for reminding me, Teran. I was just so in a hurry to get out of there. With that said, Teran, quick and dirty, brother, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Teran Rodriguez 1, T-E-R-A-N, then the last name Rodriguez, then the number 1.
There you are. You can find me here, boy, Larry B at the THEE_LB53. Follow the show at 3 and Out, all spelled out, IECE. And of course, give us all of our sponsors to follow. The SoCal Warriors. Got to show them some love at SoCal Warriors on Twitter. Of course, check out the semi-pro action in your area. BCI, of course, background check international with Kit Furman. Background check, no illegal nonsense. Just good old-fashioned background checks for your business. Kit Furman's the man. www.bcint.com. And of course, that is that. We will see y'all on Saturday morning. Until then, take care. And as always, God bless.